Welcome back to the Panic Room, everyone, and to another episode of our podcast book, The Madman's Library. Today, we have probably one of my favorite chapters. Now, you guys know I did go to school for religion. It's something I really enjoy reading about, talking about, all that good stuff. And today's chapter is religious oddities. Oh, okay. So, this is a really, really thick chapter. So I'm probably going to be leaving out more than I normally do, but I'm definitely going to hit some high points because, holy Lord, do we have some crazy shit in this chapter. So let's get started. Okay, guys, so the very first story. I know I'm supposed to be leaving stuff out, but the first story is just absolutely out there. So in Cambridge on June 23rd, 1626, they found a book inside a codfish. Yeah, and the book was a collection of religious treatises titled The Preparation to the Cross. So apparently, like, a fisherman's wife found this and, like, had to clean fish guts and shit off of it. I'm not joking. Like, cut the fish open and found the book in it. There's a really highly scientific drawing of this right there. Yeah. So they started to call this the Vox Pisces, or Pisces. There's that Latin. Anyway, so yeah, I thought that was kind of fun, finding a book inside of a fish. Okay, the next story. Do you guys remember Pee Wee Herman, like Pee-wee's Playhouse back in the day? All right, I didn't really watch that too much because my mom was never really a big fan of Pee Wee Herman. She thought he was stupid. But do you remember that whole thing, like, why don't you marry it? Right? So apparently there was a guy by the name of Sabati Zevi, 1626 to 1676. He was a Shepherdic ordained rabbi, and from the age of 22, he claimed to be the Jewish Messiah. Okay? So he proved this by pronouncing the Tetragrammaton, which is the four-letter name of the God of Israel, which was strictly forbidden by anyone other than the Jewish high priest to be said in the Temple of Jerusalem on the Day of Atonement. Because, I mean, you guys know there's rules that govern that stuff, right? So he told his followers that he could fly. All right, so this kind of man we're dealing with. And he told them that he couldn't do it in public, though, because they weren't worthy of seeing him fly. Like, you're my followers, you worship me, right? I'm your Messiah. But you're not worthy for me to go flying for you. Like, this guy had followers, people that believed he was the Messiah. And he flat out looked at him and was like, no, you're not worth it. I'm not flying for you. So, as like a way to reinforce his authority with his followers, he straight up marries the Torah. Like, has a ceremony and everything. Get this, I like to die. So it says that the holy text was dressed in bridal vestments. The ceremony then performed before witnesses in the manner of a traditional Jewish wedding. And then Sabati Zevi lovingly placed the ring upon one of the wooden rollers around which the scroll was wound. The groom beamed. I mean, I guess whatever, you know, but I just kept thinking of that Pee Wee Herman, like, why don't you marry it? And as soon as I read that. Okay, and then we start going into all of these religious texts that, like, through copying, you know, because, you know, before, like, printing presses and shit back in the day, that had these, like, really strange mistakes, like, funny mistakes, okay? And then sometimes very, very lucrative mistakes, because if you own one of these things, you know, you're sitting on a gold mine. All right, so the first one, the Book of Kells, created in AD 800. So in this particular manuscript, in the Gospel of Luke, chapter 3, verse 26, the transcriber actually put, like, an extra person in the genealogy of Jesus. And it's because of the way the Latin words worked. And it said that the transcriber misread a name and put, like, an extra ending on it because it was supposed to be Matthew, and he separated the endings, which made it an entirely different person. Oh, but the best one. Okay, so I feel like I'd heard about this guy before. Maybe not, though. So apparently this whole thing about having errors in text was just such a nail in the coffin for these transcribers that they actually came up with a whole demon to blame this shit on by the name of Titavillus. Yeah, or the patron demon of scribes. Yeah. So get this. This has to be either on purpose or it is the most just roundabout crazy coincidence I've ever heard. All right, so it is said that the demon is said to still monks' idle chatter and their mumbled delivery during church services to bring back to hell. He is sent by Lucifer to torment tired scribes and trick them into bringing errors into the work of the Lord. And he was first referenced by Johann Galensis in 1285 in the Tractatus de Penitentia. Yeah, more Latin. Lots of Latin in this chapter. So in the notes of a book called Medieval Calligraphy, Its History and Technique, in 1980, so not too terribly long ago, it is said that for the past half century, every edited edition of the Oxford English Dictionary has listed on the incorrect page a reference for, of all things, a footnote on the earliest mention of Titavillus. So, since 1980, every single edition of the Oxford English Dictionary, like one of the most well-known works ever, right, has incorrectly noted what page the reference for this demon is on. Does that not just blow your mind? It blew my mind. I was like, somebody has orchestrated this. There has to be. There's no way that this is a thing. I mean, come on. I mean, I hope it is. That's hilarious. But there's no way. All right, guys, so in an effort to not be here forever, I really did enjoy this section about, like, crazy missteps or crazy transcribing errors and things like that. But I'm going to skip some, and I'm just going to tell you about some of the, like, weird Bibles that exist now. Things like the Wicked Bible, the Adulterous Bible, or the Sinner's Bible. All right, so in the Sinner's Bible from 1631, the Barker and Lucas, who I guess were the transcribers, perhaps, they dropped a crucial knot from Exodus chapter 20, verse 14, to proclaim the seventh commandment as thou shalt commit adultery. Whoops. And apparently only 11 of those remain because most of them were destroyed. So you can imagine how costly it is to get your hands on one of those now. All right, and a similar error from 1716 commands in Jeremiah chapter 31, verse 34, to sin on more rather than to sin no more. And apparently 8,000 copies of this particular edition of the Bible were printed before people noticed. Oops again. All right, and the last one, and then I promise we're going to move on. But this next guy. So guys, this next little part put me in mind of this one particular verse in the Bible, and I'm not going to go back and look it up, but there's a part in the Bible that talks about how, like, you're not supposed to add shit to it or take anything away, that God looks down on that. This next dude, listen to this shit. They give one example, but apparently he, like, notated the whole damn Bible. Okay, so this guy, Edmund Beck, he produced a Bible in 1549, and he put notes throughout the whole thing, but they have an example in here. His note on 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 7. Apparently that verse deals with, like, husbands honoring their wives. Listen to his note. Listen to this. If she be not obedient and helpful unto him, endeavoureth to beat the fear of God into her head, and thereby she may be compelled to learn her duty and to do it. Like, I have a feeling God had a thing or two to say to this guy when he died. I would have loved to be a fly on the wall at the pearly gates when that guy got there. All right, so suffice it to say, there's a ton of these, but in an effort to not be here forever, we're going to skip through it. But good Lord, can you believe, especially that last guy, good God, Edmund, what the crap are you doing, man? All right, but before we move on, let me show you the picture of how they corrected one of these errors, because in one of these Bibles, they meant to put Jesus and they put Judas. Whoops, for a third time. Look at this. You see how they just put, like, a piece of papyrus over it? I mean, I guess when whiteout doesn't exist yet, what are you gonna do? Okay, guys, so the next part, our author goes into this absolutely amazing, amazing section of all of these scrolls and how they illustrated hell. All right, now, your girl has always been a fan of, like, Hieronymus Bosch, but I really love some of this artwork. So please, as always with all the past videos, you know I'm going to put close-ups at the end, but definitely stay tuned for this one because some of this is just, breathtaking, especially from horror lovers out there. So check this first one out. So this one is when the Archangel Michael looks into the hell mouth. Okay? All right. check this out. Just look. Look at that. Look at the eyeball. Like, I love this. Just very, I don't know. I can see Hieronymus Bosch in so many of these. Like, I can see his inspiration. But there's a ton of these. The next book that they do full page renditions of is The Disillusion of Sinners from 1724. Just look at this. I love his little face in this one. Yeah, look at that. Do they not look like little boys? I just feel like they look like little boys just being mischievous. But yeah, is that not beautiful? Just that artwork, man. Okay, so the next one. First, I'm going to give you the backstory, and then I'm going to show you the picture. There was this guy by the name of Jacobus Palladinius di Teramo. Yeah, that's Italian, in case you couldn't tell from my absolute perfect saying of that name. He was a bishop, a canon lawyer, and a member of the powerful family of Palladini. Now, he's known for a lot of different works, most of them, like, quite sober, to use the author's word, but there's one that our author likes and goes into from 1382 entitled The Consolation of Sinners, which is also known as the Book of Belial. And this book is about a lawsuit that Lucifer brings against heaven or Jesus. And it's based on, from the best I can tell, the idea that, and I believe it's Catholicism that holds this, please correct me down in the comments if I'm wrong, about how when Jesus died on the cross and was buried for 3 days, that he went to hell to free, like, the Old Testament saints. And this lawsuit is suing him for trespassing. And there is a picture from 1461 titled The Devil Returns to Hell, and he's waving, like, his triumphant lawsuit. Yeah, just take it in. Just take it all in. Look at this. Look, what the hell is happening here? Right? But yeah, so apparently it even tells you who's at the trial. Listen to this. So the case is presided over by King Solomon. Moses is defending Christ. And there is a judicially trained demon appearing for the devil. So the devil didn't even show up in person for this shit. Okay? I mean, I feel like that's, like, expected, maybe. But at the second trial, Joseph acts as the judge, and Aristotle and Isaiah appear on Christ's legal team. And they have to face off against the Emperor Augustus and Jeremiah, who are on the devil's legal team. I would love to read this. I bet you this damn thing is just hilarious. Okay, so next, let's talk about some ways that these people had back in the day of memorizing these scriptures. Because, you know, that was a big deal. That was a huge deal. Because, you know, they wanted to know these things so that they didn't wind up burning in the flames of hell, right? But how do you do that? Especially for the people who, let's say, were illiterate, perhaps. You know, they have these tools that they would use to help them to remember things. Like this next little piece. It's called The Art of Memorizing the Evangelist Figures. And it was from 1470. It was a memory tool popular among the Dominican friars as a symbolic representation to help those with limited education, as the book says, to memorize the Gospels. Now, before I go any further, check this action out. Look at this. These right here. That's supposed to help you memorize the 4 Gospels. Now, it doesn't go into how. I have no idea. Like, I'm looking at this, I don't know. I can see some things that are, like, pseudo-biblical, but how this helped you to memorize Jack is beyond me. So, but yeah, apparently, like, they would be coded, and the person would just know what the symbol stood for, and that was supposed to help them to remember the important parts of the Gospels. I thought that was pretty interesting. Oh, okay, and you know how, I've said it in every video, how humanity doesn't change? Get this. So apparently, there was a thing called a memory tickler. Yeah. Does that not sound almost risque? It wasn't. It was called the Cutout Confession. And this was in 1677. And it was so popular that it had been reprinted all the way through 1751. And it was a book that apparently it just had a catalog of all your sins. And so when you, I guess, did one and you had to go to confession, you could just, like, write your name in, rip it out, and go. and like, I guess hand it to the priest. I don't know. But yeah, it's like convenience sinning. So they have a picture of this. Check this out. I love how this has been positioned too. Because see, it has the gold hand here and you can see where they were rip out. They were like tear outs that you could use. I thought that was great. I mean, convenience has been sold to humanity since like time immortal. It was great. Okay, and just let me just talk about this next one as a side note. We're not going to spend a whole lot of time here. There was a book. You know how people just get upset over the craziest shit anymore? Okay, so apparently there was a guy. He was an abbot in France, and he was Abbot Bouchard of Bellevaux. And he started talking shit about beards, like beards, and pissed off like a bunch of his people because a bunch of them had beards. And so he had to write like an epistle to them called In Defense of Beards. This was in 1160, okay? 1160. These people got so pissed off that this guy hated beards that he ended up having to like write a letter. And get this, so this guy laid it on thick. Listen to what he puts. There were some lines from this letter in the book, so listen to this. A beard is appropriate to a man as a sign of his comeliness, he cooed, as a sign of his strength, a sign of his wisdom, as a sign of his maturity, and a sign of his piety. So then, because again, humanity doesn't change, the guys without beards were like, well, what about us? So he goes on to say that men that don't have beards, they have what he calls inner beards. Inner beards. And that those matter just as much as external beards. And so he equated this whole like example he gave about inner and outer beards with the idea that it is more important to have faith than to act as if you have faith. So as long as you have your internal or external beard, you don't have to have an external beard. I know. It's beards. Come on. I didn't want to spend a whole lot of time there because it's so insane, but I had to tell you guys that one. Beards. Holy God. Okay, guys. Buckle your seatbelts. Get ready for this next one. This one is for all my sci-fi lovers, all my robot lovers. Just, oh my God, let's just do it. Let's go. All right, so there was a guy by the name, he was an American spiritual clergyman by the name of John Murray Spear, 1804 to 1887. He was known for two things. He was a fierce abolitionist, and he attempted to build a robot Jesus. Let me say that again. He tried to build a robot Jesus. Apparently he thought he could like bring a utopia to the world. In his book, Message from the Superior State, communicated by John Murray through John M. Spear. This happened in 1853. So he says he was instructed by these spirits that told him to write this book to make a association of electrotizers. And this group of spirits included the ghosts of Benjamin Franklin, Thomas Jefferson, John Quincy Adams, and Benjamin Rush. So apparently this guy took his followers to a lodge atop High Rock Hill in Lynn, Massachusetts, and began building this robotic messiah. He then ordered a female follower to whom he called the New Mary to give birth to this machine in an elaborate ritual. So spoiler, the robot didn't work and the cult just sort of died out. But oh my gosh, can you believe that? Like, I had never heard of Robot Jesus. So for those of you who were disappointed that Robot Jesus didn't work out, no worries, because apparently there was a Shinto priest by the name of Abaraki Prefecture. He was a Japanese priest in 1933, and he had documents which he called the Last Will and Testament of Jesus Christ. But unfortunately, these papers that he alleged to have disappeared right before the outbreak of World War II. So there's that. However, it's said that this priest passed along to the people of his village that Jesus did not die. No. He had a previously unreported brother by the name of Isirkiri. And this brother actually stepped in and took the crucifixion for Jesus. And Jesus himself fled to Japan to this village, the same one that the priest was from. And, you know, got married, he was a farmer, had kids, all this. And the village is Shingo, Japan. And apparently there, they have like a sign up telling this story about how, you know, Christ's grave is there. Like, that's where he died. Like, he lived out his life and died in this village. I had never heard that. Comment down below, had you heard that? Because I really felt like with all of the religious background and all the religious crap that I've read, I felt like I should have known that, and I didn't. This was the first I'd ever heard of it. So guys, I think I'm going to end this video here. I've been talking a long time. This chapter was really, really thick compared to the other ones. Obviously, stay tuned to the end. I will give you guys some shots. It had some gorgeous, gorgeous photos. If you're like me and you like those old school religious texts and some of those pictures, you're really gonna like it. So, but please comment down below. You know, this one was a crazy one. It really was. And I was super looking forward to this chapter anyway, and to me it did not disappoint, which none of these have, in my opinion. But let me know down below what you think. What did you think about Robot Jesus? I don't know why that one stood out to me. Or the fish book. But guys, thanks again for hanging out for another episode of our podcast book series. Please like and subscribe. It would really help me out. And until next time, bye for now.